Hey guys, in today's video I'll be giving you a pretty in-depth, easy to follow guide on homebrewing your Wii U with the Aroma custom firmware. Also, as an added bonus, we're going to add the tiramisu environment as well, which was the custom firmware before this one, but I'll show you how to switch between the two. By the end of this video, you'll have your console fully set up with both custom firmwares along with Autoboot, so your system goes straight into Aroma every time you turn it on. And we'll also add some essential Wii U homebrew apps like the Homebrew App Store and Bluepair for third-party controller support. And then finally, I know not everyone has a Wiimote, so this part is optional, but we'll also be fully modding the Vwii today as well, which we'll go over later. This guide works on Wii U consoles running system version 5.5.6 in North America and 5.5.5 in other regions. So let's just dive in and get started. Okay, so we're starting things off on the console, and we're just going to verify our system version by going into System Settings. Just give that a moment to load up. And you can see right here I'm running version 5.5.6U. Again, this does work on consoles running 5.5.5 in other regions. And the only other thing you need from here is an SD card. Now you can see here I have a 32 gigabyte SD card. Ideally, the bigger the better. You can go up to a 256 gigabyte SD card. The only prerequisite is that it needs to be formatted to FAT32, which we're going to go over later. And for those of you who have smaller cards, I wouldn't go lower than 8 gigabytes. Again, ideally, the bigger the better. But let's go ahead and head over to the PC and we'll get started. All right, so now that we're on the PC, we have a bunch of things we're going to be downloading here today, and I'll leave a link in the description below for everything that we're going to be doing. We're basically grabbing everything in one shot, so we don't have to do a bunch of back and forth between the console and the PC. So starting off, we're on the Wii U hacks guide, and we're going to grab the FAT32 format GUI tool so we can format our SD card. So I'm just going to click this link here. It's going to take us to the Rich Crop website. Click on the picture here, and it's going to ask you if you want to keep the file. Go ahead and hit keep. After that, we can close this. And the next thing we're going to do is head over to the Aroma site. So open this up, and we're going to check these 4 boxes here. And then it already has things basically selected for you. So for base, it says download payloads. Just go ahead and select that. For aroma, it says download base aroma. Go ahead and select that. And then finally, we have additional plugins and modules. We have Bluepair, which is already selected. I have a video covering all these individually if you guys want to know what these do individually. I'll leave that somewhere up top for you guys to see. But Bluepair basically lets you connect third-party controllers, like if you wanted to use a Nintendo Switch controller on your Wii U, for example, you could do that. You have FTPU, which lets you transfer files remotely from your PC to your Wii U. You have SD Caffeine, which is good for game mods, like if you want to add extra levels to Mario Kart or something like that. Screenshot plugin's good just because you didn't have one before, and now you do. And then finally, we have SwipSwapMe. SwipSwapMe is good for, let's say you have a game that lets you only play on the TV or a game that only lets you play on the tablet. SwipSwapMe will let you change that to where you can flip-flop them from TV to gamepad or use both at the same time. It's pretty neat. But let's go ahead and download the additional plugins and modules as well. And then we're going to head over to the next link, which is going to be the finalizing setup portion. But again, we're just grabbing the links from it. We have the Save Me Mod What Port. Save Me Mod is a homebrew app that lets you manage your Wii U and Vwii save data. And you have the Homebrew App Store, which lets you browse and download homebrew apps directly from your Wii U. Now go ahead and click on Save Me Mod What, Homebrew App Store as well. And if you get to this page, go ahead and scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to grab the Wiiuextract to SD.zip. And then we can head back to that page. Scroll down to the bottom, and we actually have the Tiramisu custom firmware as well. Go to download the latest files from Tiramisu for your cafe. Hit download. Go back once more. And now the next thing we're going to grab is the environment swap application. This will let you swap between Aroma and Tiramisu. And the only reason you'd even want to do this is because there are some applications that only work for Tiramisu and don't work on Aroma. Again, you don't have to. It's not required for the homebrew process, but it's a good thing to have. Go ahead and go to download. And next up is going to be all the Vwii stuff. So again, this is optional. If you don't have a Wiimote, can't continue past this point, it's not needed to mod your Wii U, but again, it's another good thing to do. Assuming you have that though, we can go to the latest release of the Compat installer. Go ahead and hit download. Go to download again right here. Head back to that site. Then we're going to grab the enhanced Vwii aroma plugin. Same thing, hit download again, go back to that site. Actually, I think that's it from here. Next thing we're going to grab is Priiloader. Now we're going to grab the Priiloader installer, and it's going to be the zip file from here. So download file for Priiloader zip. Head back. We're going to grab the load Priiloader, and again, we're going to grab the load Priiloader zip, hit download again. Then we're also going to grab the Priiloader Wii forwarder. It's a direct download, so if you click it, it should go right to it. We're done with this one. Let's head over to the CIOS installer. All we need here is the D2X CIOS installer. This is another direct download. Next up will be the finalizing setup for the Vwii. These are for additional channels, which are pretty cool. So patched iOS 80 installer, we're going to grab. Go to patched iOS 80, go to download file. And if we go back, patched iOS 80 installer for the Vwii is a homebrew app that lets you take your current install of iOS 80 and patch it to be able to use fake signed channels on your SD card menu. And you also have the system channel restorer. This one's optional, but say you're missing the Me channel or maybe the weather channel or anything on your Wii U, you can restore it using this application. I actually don't need this, but I'm gonna grab it anyways so I can show you guys how to do it. Go back. And I think that's all I need from here. And the last one will be the open shop channel for the Vwii side of things as well. So we're going to grab the Homebrew Browser, go down to homebrewbrowser.zip, download file. And that should finally be it for our downloads. We can go ahead and head over to our downloads folder and take a look at our SD card. Okay, so you can see I have my downloads folder over here on the right. And on the left, my SD card is called Homebrew SD, and it's also Drive F. You're going to want to make note of that. Now, if you decide to name your SD card, you can name it pretty much anything you want except Wii U. You don't want to name it just this because this will interfere with the homebrew process. So for me, Homebrewed SD is fine. You don't have to name it anything if you don't want to. But assuming that's done, we can go ahead and open up the GUI format tool, and we're going to format this to FAT32. Fun fact, if your SD card is 32 gigabytes or lower, you can right-click the drive, go down to Format, and then for File System, you can select FAT32 from this list. If your SD card is over 32 gigabytes, you use the GUI Format tool, select your drive letter, which again, mine was Drive F. You can see Homebrew SD appeared, and you hit Start. You might get an error code when you run it, just like this. If that happens, it's because you have background windows running. Doesn't like that, go ahead and hit start again. And now it's FAT32. Let me go ahead and open those windows back up. Okay, so once again, I have my downloads folder open on the right and my SD card open on the left now. So GUI format, we're all done with. We can delete that. The next thing we need to do is highlight all of our applications here, right click them and hit extract each archive to a separate folder. Should only take a few seconds, really. It's not that much. And then we can go ahead and delete the zip files. Now we're going to go through all of these folders individually and start adding it to our SD card, but everything's pretty self-explanatory and easy. So we'll start with the aroma beta folder. We have a Wii U folder on the inside. We're going to toss this on the root of our SD card. Head back. Next up, we'll do the blue pair, basically all the plugins and stuff. In here, we have a Wii U folder. We're going to toss this on the root of our SD card, and it should merge with everything we just did. Go back. Now we have the Compat title installer. Open this up. We have a Wii U folder and a manifest install folder. Highlight both of those. Throw them on the root of your SD card. Go back. Select the D2X CIOS installer. Select this folder here. And you have this apps folder here. We're going to toss this on the root of our SD card. Go back. We're going to do the environment loader / NAND dumper. There is a Wii U folder in here. Toss this on the root of your SD card. Go back. We have, I believe this might be, I'm assuming tiramisu. Highlight the Wii U folder. Put it on the root of your SD card. If you get an option that says replace the files in the destination, go ahead and do that. Go back. Then we have environment swap. We have a Wii U folder and a manifest folder. Well, file, I guess. And highlight that. Toss that over. Go to replace file in the destination. Go back. We have Vwii, open that up. You got the Wii U folder and manifest install. Highlight that, drag it over to the root of your SD card. Hit replace the file in the destination if it appears. Head back again. It's pretty much going to be the same for all of this. Homebrew Browser. Now you have an apps folder here. We're just going to toss the apps folder on the root of our SD card. Load Priiloader. We have an apps folder. Toss that on the root of your SD card. Patched iOS 80 installer. You have an apps folder. Toss that on the root of your SD card. Priiloader. You have an apps folder. Toss that on the root of your SD card. Priiloader Wii forwarder. You have a Wii folder. Toss that on the root of your SD card. Save me mod whatport. You have a Wii folder and a manifest install file. Toss that over on the root of your SD card and hit replace the file if it appears. Go back, almost done. System channel restore. You have an apps folder. Toss that on the root of your SD card. Go back, and we have Wiiuextract to SD. Open that up. We have a Wii folder. Toss that on the root of our SD card. That should be our last one, and now we are all set with the SD card. We can head back over to the Wii U. Okay, so back on your console with your SD card inserted, you want to make sure your console is connected to the internet because now we need to go into the internet browser. So let's go ahead and open that up and wait for it to load. And once you get to the section to type in your URL, go ahead and open it up. And we're going to go to Wiiuexploit.xyz and type in OK. It's going to take you to this site here. What's going to happen is we're going to tap run exploit and then immediately hold down the B button, and we're going to hold it until we see a change in the screen. So run exploit, hold down the B button, and we're not going to take our finger off basically until the screen goes black. And once you see this menu, you know you've done it right. Now, the next thing we're going to do from here is start the NAND dumper. This is going to give you a layer of brick protection for your console should something ever happen. So go ahead and press A on NAND dumper. All the options are already auto-selected. If you have a big SD card and you can do the MLC dump, you can. You don't really have to though. It's not necessary to restore your files if something bad happens. But you can leave this as the base options and go ahead and press A to continue. It's going to do a NAND dump now, and the process probably takes somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes. So I will see you shortly. Okay, so when the NAND dump is completed, it should reboot and automatically send you back to the main menu of your console. We're actually going to open up the internet browser one more time and head back over to that site, Wiiuexploit.xyz, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, so this time on the site, we're going to be hitting run exploit, but we're also going to be holding down the X button this time instead of the B button. So run exploit, hold down X until we get a change in the screen. And if you did it correctly, you should be greeted with the environment loader. So if you installed your files correctly, you should have the option to do tiramisu or aroma. We're obviously doing aroma today, but it's cool that you can see that option now. So press A on aroma if you have it highlighted. And if you get a message that's like a big yellow block telling you that you have an updates folder, go ahead and press, I believe it's the X button to block the updates if you see it, and then it should let you continue on. But that is a normal thing to see. I've seen it before with my console, so it didn't pop up for me. Next up, you have the option to see the Wii U menu or the Vwii system menu. We're going to hit the A button on the Wii menu. And just give this a moment because it's going to take us to the main menu of our console. And now we have to actually install the payload. So if you go over, we should have a bunch of new applications, but the one we're looking for is the Payloader installer. Go ahead and open this one up. We're going to go over into check, go to install and update if it gives you the option, and then go down to install. Give this a moment. And then it's going to tell you to press A to shut down the console, but go ahead and turn it back on once it does. So now we do technically have custom firmware installed. The problem is we need to open up the health and safety application every time we want to use it. So we're going to fix that now. So let's start by opening the health and safety application right now. This will boot us into Aroma. Give this a moment. Then from the environment loader, we're going to go ahead and select A. And then for the Wii U menu, we're going to select A again. Should be the default options. Now we're in Aroma. We're going to open the Payload installer once more. press A to check, go down to boot options, and this option here for switch to payloader, we're going to press A. And it's going to say press A to shut down the console. And once again, once it does shut down, restart it, turn it back on. So now, once that's done, every time you turn on your system, you're going to be greeted with this menu instead. But we can select default answers on here, so it will auto direct us to where we need to be. So we want to be directed to go into aroma every time. So with aroma selected, we're going to hit the Y button. Should make it turn yellow, so that was selected as the default. Go ahead and press A to continue. And we also have the Wii U menu here. Go ahead and hit the Y button to highlight that as well. Make that the default and press the A button to continue. And now we are all set. Every time you turn your system on, your console will now boot into aroma. You already have a bunch of new applications, and I'll just go over them real fast. So we have the Compat installer. This is what's going to install the Homebrew channel into the Vwii for us. We have the Wii U Homebrew App Store, which is good for a bunch of different Homebrew applications. We have Reboot to Tiramisu, which, like it says, will boot you into Tiramisu. Once you're in Tiramisu, there's another application that will boot you back into Aroma. You have Save Me What Port, which again is for your save files for the Wii U and Vwii games. Boot to Priiloader, which is for the Vwii. We haven't even installed Priiloader yet. The Payloader installer, which you guys know what that does. We just used it. Pair, which is part of Pair. This is for pairing multiple different controllers, like using an Xbox controller on here. And then we have the Aroma Updater, so you can actually update your custom firmware directly from the Wii U. Another little fun tidbit you can do is hold down the left shoulder, down on the D-pad, and the minus button. This will open up the Wii U plugin configuration menu, should you ever need to look through any of this, like for FTPU, for example. Go ahead and hit B. Next thing, if you ever have to access the environment loader again, you can open up the health and safety application, and right when you boot it up, hold down the X button, and that'll take you into the environment loader. And if you ever want to get to the boot selector, you would do the same thing of opening this up, but instead hold down the plus button. I think that's it for just the tidbits on here. I'm going to switch over to the big screen so you guys have a better view, and we'll start tackling the Vwii side of things. Okay, so next up, we need to install the Homebrew channel into the Vwii. So that's where the Compat installer comes into play. We're going to open this up, press A on that. Right now, I'm currently using the Wiimote so you guys can see. We're using like the big screen. I think it looks a lot better now. Easier to see. You can press the A button to install the Homebrew channel. Once it's done, press the home button. That'll send you back. And now we're going to go ahead and open up the Vwii. So let's head over to the Wii menu, hit A on this. I'm going to do TV only. And just give this a moment to load up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is open up the Homebrew channel, which you can see we already have from the Compat installer. And the first thing you're going to see, we have a bunch of applications we're going to have to go through. But to start with, we're going to go with the Priiloader installer, which I already have highlighted. Hit A on this, go to load. Just give this a moment while it initializes. And when given the option, press the plus button to install. Should only take a few seconds. After that, go ahead and press the A button to exit. And now we're going to launch into Priiloader by going into Load Priiloader and selecting Load. Now from this menu, we're going to scroll down to System Menu Hacks, and there's a couple of things we want to make sure we have enabled. We have Block Online Updates. We want to make sure that's enabled. Let's scroll down to Region Free Everything. Let's make sure that's enabled. Let's go down to Remove Deflicker. If you're not using a CRT TV right now, like if you're using an HD TV, you want to make sure this is enabled. We're also going to select Wii System Settings via Options button. Go ahead and make sure that's enabled. And then go down to Save Settings. If you guys want any of the extra ones, you can. Once you hit Save, go ahead and hit the B button. And we're going to launch back into the Homebrew channel. So highlight that, press the A button. And now we're going to run the CIOS installer. Now the CIOS installer is needed if you want to run games from a USB hard drive or a USB flash drive. If you want to play like Wii or GameCube games, this is what's going to help you get those running. This also takes a second to initialize. Once you see this menu, go ahead and press the A button to continue. And we have a couple of things we want to change around here. So we have Select CIOS. We're going to change this to D2X V11 Beta 1 Vwii. The CIOS base we want to make sure is 56, and the CIOS slot is also going to be 249. Press the A button, and that'll just start the download. Give this a moment to finish. It should probably take maybe 2 minutes per, and we're going to do 3 of them. Once it's done, press A to continue. And we're going to change the CIOS base to 57 and the CIOS slot to 250. Go ahead and hit A to continue. Let this download. All right, once that's done, press A to continue. And we're going to change the CIOS base again to 58 and the slot once again to 251. Press A to continue, and this will be the last one we're doing here. And once that's done, go ahead and press the A button to continue, and then the B button to exit back into the Homebrew launcher. Now, the next thing we're going to open is the patched iOS 80 installer. Go ahead and open that, hit load. This will also take a moment to initialize, and it makes you read at the bottom a little message for the next 30 seconds or so, so I'll see you soon. And when the message is done, it'll say press any button to continue, and it's going to start the download. When it's done, it'll say press any button to exit. Okay, now we have 2 left to go through. Let's go over to the right, and we'll check out the system channel restorer. I actually don't need this for my console, like I said before, but I'll be showing you guys because I'm sure there's some of you who do. Once it loads up, it'll tell you your console region and your console type. And then after that, it'll give you a bunch of channels to install. So we have the Me channel, the Photo channel, the Wii Shop channel. So let's say you need the Wii Internet channel. Go ahead and highlight it by pressing the A button, and then you'd hit the plus button to install it. But assuming we're good here, I'm going to go ahead and hit the home button and cancel out of this. And now lastly, let's check out the Homebrew Browser. So let's go ahead and load on this. For those of you who haven't seen this before, this is great for adding emulators and stuff like that. You'll still need to go into your SD card to add the ROMs and stuff, but you'll be able to download emulators and other applications directly to your Vwii, which is nice. Assuming that you can connect, because sometimes a lot of people, including myself, once in a while will have connection issues and I'll be unable to connect to their server. If that happens, you can try restarting your router box. That helps a lot of the times. If you're using a wired connection, try switching to wireless if you have that option. See what happens there. But just give this a moment. And if it goes through, you should be greeted with the Homebrew Browser screen. So I won't really browse through this too much because that'll make the video take forever. But we have a bunch of homebrew games you can look through here, like Trogdor, Wii Tic-Tac-Toe. You have a media tab here. You can download WiiMC, watch DVDs and stuff like that from here. You have emulators like Game Boy Advance, Genesis Plus, MAME, Super Nintendo, original Nintendo. You got Wii Station, so there's a bunch of options here. And then there's a ton of utilities too. So there's a lot for you guys to look for, a lot to browse. We only have one more thing left to do here, so let's go ahead and turn our console off, take your SD card out, and head over to the PC one final time, and then we'll start wrapping this video up. All right, so on the PC, the last thing we need to do, you see these .bin files, these 4 files here? We need to take these and put it in a safe spot on our PC. I'm going to put this on the desktop. You guys can put this wherever. If you ever brick your system, like if you install a wrong application or something, you're going to want to have these files on hand to revert your system back to what it was. So keep these somewhere safe. And other than that, we're going to let this finish, and I'll see you in a second. And once that's done, you can delete the files off of your SD card to save some space. So highlight the 4, press delete. And that's it. We're all done. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys run into any problems, leave me a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you the best that I can. I'll leave a playlist down in the description below for you to check out of other tutorials that I've made. But that's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.